Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Don from 1A Auto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And the next time you need a part for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, we're going to show you how to replace a power window regulator on this 2006 Chevy Impala. Pretty much the same for any 2006 to 2011. A lot of times when the window regulator goes bad, you'll hear kind of a popping noise or and then a grinding noise, and you hear your power window trying to do something, but nothing's really happening with the window. And in this video, we replace the left-hand front. The right-hand front is basically the same procedure. You'll need a new window regulator from 1AAuto.com, small flat blade screwdriver, 8 and 10 millimeter sockets, ratchet and extension, a T30 Torx driver, pliers, and some tape. Start by pulling open the door handle, and there's a little panel that you just use a small screwdriver to pop out. It kind of pries right out. And then there's another small panel at your door pull that pulls up and out. Using the same small screwdriver, pry out on the reflector at the bottom corner. And we'll fast forward here. Behind where you took the reflector off, there is a 8 millimeter screw to remove, and then there are 3 T30 Torx screws. 2 of them are at the door pull, and then one of them is behind where the door handle, the inside door handle is. Remove all 3 of those. Use a small flat blade screwdriver or some other flat tool to carefully pry on the triangle at the top of the door. Starting at the top front corner, pull firmly, and you'll start to release the clips. And you just slide your hand in all the way around and keep pulling the door and the door panel until it's free from the door. Once the clips around the outer perimeter are free, then you can pull the door panel up off the window ledge and out some more. Using a pair of pliers, there's little tabs on the cable housing. Pinch the tabs and pull the cable housing through the back side of the door handle, and then pull the cable up and out. And then there is a lock. You pull the white part of the lock back, which unlocks the connector, and then you can pull the connector free and take the panel off. Next, we're going to carefully pull off the water shield and make sure you don't tear it, because you want to obviously reuse it. And actually what we're doing here now is the regulator that's in our vehicle is in fine shape, so we're just turning the vehicle on and putting it up into position. And basically these are cable actuated regulators. So here we're just going to disconnect the connection, but they're cable actuated regulators, and normally what happens is the cable that's right in behind breaks, and when that cable breaks, usually you can just grab onto the window, move it up and down, and you want to move it to a position where you can get to the 2 bolts that hold the regulator to the window, there and there. Okay, now we'll use a 10 millimeter socket and ratchet to remove those 2 bolts. And now slide the window up off the regulator and put it up. You can pull it up on top and use a piece of tape. You'll see we have some painter's tape on there to hold it up, and then disconnect the lead. You press in on a little tab and push the connection down and out. And then there are 6 bolts, 3 that hold the motor there and 3 that hold the window regulator rail. I'm going to fast forward here. Only one of the bolts has to be removed all the way. It's the bottom left bolt on the rail. The rest of the bolts can just be loosened. And that's what we're doing now. And then once you've loosened them up, you can pull the rail up off and slide it out of the door first, and then pull up on the motor and slide the bolts out of the door, and then pull the rail regulator motor assembly right out of the door. Okay, new assembly on top from 1A Auto, old assembly right on bottom. They're all the same. The new assembly from 1A Auto could have a pigtail, which is just a longer lead. It still connects the same, but you will need to make a little bit of a change. You just wire tie that on, and you'll see that later. Here we're just taking all the bolts that are in the old regulator and putting them in the new regulator in the same spots so that we can reinstall it into the door the same way. Slide your regulator in the way it came out, motor first and then the rail, and you need to kind of make sure that the top goes in first. You'll have to put it between the window and the door and get the top of the rail in first and then the bottom of the rail, and then you can slide your motor in and slide the bolts down. And then I'm going to fast forward here again as we tighten up those bolts and reinstall the third bolt into the bottom of the regulator rail. Okay, now here we're going to reconnect the window motor. And as I said before, the replacement part from 1A has a pigtail on it. You just need to make sure that you secure it so that the pigtail doesn't have any chance of getting caught when the window goes up or down. We just use a wire tie to tie it to the existing harness in the door and then clip and trim the wire tie. Now you can take the tape off and carefully slide the window down and line it up with the regulator. And once you have those holes lined up, it shouldn't take too much pressure, just a little bit of maybe back and forth. Once you have them lined up, then reinstall the two bolts and tighten them up. Here we're just going to test it, reconnect our door harness and turn the vehicle on, and we'll just run it up and down, make sure everything's working correctly. Okay, and then we can disconnect the harness, and once we've confirmed it works okay, put the water shield back on and finish up by putting the door panel back on. To reinstall the door panel, bring it close to the door, re-engage the ball into the door handle, and then snap the cable housing in place. And now reach down in and reconnect your harness. You push the two connectors together and then flip the white clip up and over to lock it in place. Now be sure to line up the door lock hole with the door lock knob, and then push the door panel down onto the windowsill, make sure it goes on there correctly, and then set the clips around the outside edge. Now reinstall the three T30 Torx screws, one in behind the door handle and then the two behind the door pull. And then once you have those done, reinstall the 8mm bolt or screw that goes in behind the reflector on the back of the door. Finish up by reinstalling the triangle trim piece up at the top, the little trim piece that goes in behind your door handle, the trim piece that goes into the door pull cup, and finally the reflector on the back side. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll-free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.